Hello everyone and welcome back to another Teamfight Tactics guide. 10.4 is upon us, and with some reworks to Glacial and some buffs to some of our favorite friends like Olaf, we're going to see a small mix-up to the meta that we've fight tac. Today we'll go over the 5 best comps for 10.4 since the changes and the patch have gone live, and we'll review some of the changes that you need to know about if you're jumping back into Teamfight Tac. But before we get into it, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Zelos. Now, when you're jumping into 10.4 for TFT or League of Legends, you can actually be gaining points through Zelos that allow you to pick up RP for free with the card system. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is jump over to zelos.gg. You can finish League matches or TFT missions like kill the Baron and League, kill the highest KDA, or win matches in TFT. And by playing the game you're already playing, you'll be able to collect free points on the platform and then redeem these for RP in the match yourself. So you're looking for that new little legend or some new skins in League of Legends, this is an easy way to get them from playing the game you're already playing. First, Glacial has been reworked. I think this is probably the best angle they could have taken for Glacial, since it's been reworked and touched a lot over the last year, but realistically they haven't really landed on anything that made it feel really good, because if you have a scaling % chance to stun, you're gonna get to a point with 4 or 6 Glacials where you're getting perma-stunned, and it just doesn't really have any natural counters and doesn't feel that good to go against. So their solution for this patch in 10.4 is to set the global chance to stun at a fixed value of 25%, rather than scaling up with the origin itself, and additionally add in bonus magic damage when you get the stun. It goes 75 damage to 175 to 350. So you actually will get a pretty significant bonus to magic damage from the glacial units, and it also means that you can run 2 or 4 glacials pretty consistently and get some value out of it. Olaf is getting 100 bonus HP on the top end, and he's also getting bonus attack speed at 1 star to 125%, which is a 25% increase from what he had before. This just means that 1 star Olaf is going to be a lot easier to use than he was before. Taric invulnerability duration is going down by half a second at rank 1 and rank 2. Singed is getting more damage at tier 1, so again 1 star is going to be a little bit easier to use. And lastly, the poison mana increase. So when you apply the poison effect to a target, it used to increase their mana cost by 50%. It's now only going to increase it by 33%. And this is in response to 10.3, where poison rangers were just dominating everything. The only S meta comp that we really had, it was kind of controlling the whole landscape. Now it is still going to be very useful, and you'll want to use Poison Ranger in this patch, but it's not going to be the end all be all that it used to be. Starting off at number 1, Poison Rangers, since we just mentioned it. And I want to do a little bit of a tweak to this, because last patch you saw a very tanky Poison Rangers with Malphite at the front, and I want to actually swap this out to do more of an Inferno build. Last patch you see a lot of people running with Ezreal as the 4th Ranger, but I'm going to swap that out here for the Varus. This means with Kindred, Varus, and then if you put in a Mumu in there, you will get the 3 Inferno bonus, which is doing tons of damage throughout the mid and late game. And then you want to finish off your 4 Rangers with Ashe and Twitch, which these 2 Rangers are going to be the primary of your damage output almost every single time. Ashe scales really well with Static Shiv, because when she procs her ultimate, she increases her attack speed significantly and will trigger the Static Shiv more often. Twitch specifically does great with crits. You want to do 1 or 2 Infinity Edges on him, and I also recommend putting a Last Whisper on him. And what this does is when he triggers his ultimate and his shots will pierce through targets, it'll apply the armor reduction from the Last Whisper, giving you almost a free desert buff across the enemy team, which is really effective with the 4 Rangers doing physical damage target. Mumu pairs well with Taric, which gives you the 2 Warden bonus, and they're both incredibly tanky. You'll put them up in the front to keep your team alive from the back. Singed in here will give you the poison combination with Twitch and will give you tons of damage as well. And as always, putting a Morellonomicon on Singed will always benefit your team. You'll get the healing debuff, you'll get lots of AoE damage, along with him spreading his poison across everyone on the board. Put in a Dr. Mundo, which will give you a nice mid-range tank and a good health sponge to make sure that your rangers stay alive as long as possible, and finishes off the 3 poison bonus, which allows you to prevent the enemy team from ulting as much, even in 10.4 with the reduced mana cost increase. You can optionally put more items on the Kindred than you do the Twitch, but again, if you're able to get the Last Whisper, I would definitely recommend putting in Infinity Edges on the Twitch, that damage output high, and then you'll just watch Ashe and Twitch shred the enemy team to pieces. On top top of that, Ash plus the Taric will give you the crystal bonus, which means that they're both going to be tankier, which helps a lot. It means that Taric's going to be a little bit easier to get to his ultimate and then invulnerability that you desperately need for your front. Extra items, I like putting a redemption on the Amumu because he's usually going to die before the Taric does if the Taric gets his immunity off, and also gives you an option to put in a Morellonomicon for him as well, because when Amumu hits 2-star and his radius gets bigger, he'll apply that to almost the entire enemy team along with. Now, do keep in mind that Rangers are really item dependent and sometimes can be very competitive, so you want to push this build if you're able to get the right items early, or if you can level up the Rangers early, especially Kindred. Kindred's almost the pivot point for the mid game of this build. If you can't find Kindreds or you see other people running Rangers, I wouldn't recommend trying to force this build because Rangers can be pretty competitive if you're trying to go it with someone else or even multiple people in game. Build number 2 is Ocean Wardens, and I like this one a lot because it doesn't require as much as some of the other builds and generally won't have that much competition against other players' build. Now, Ocean Mage is not really touched this patch, so it's still going to be just as good as it was in 10.3. So you can pick up a lot of these Ocean Mage combos that work well, but this one I like a lot because it's a nice middle ground that allows you to get it easily. And really, I'd only run this if there's a lot of contest over the Vhagar and the Syndra that you're going to get a lot for Ocean Mage comps, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So to get your Mage bonus, you're going to want to put in the Brand, Vladimir, and Talia, which will give you the 3 Mage bonus and give you a lot of damage output with the Brand. In fact, Brand's pretty much going to be your damage output for this entire group, unless Malphite gets some good ultimates off that triggers a Morellonomicon. Because you're not running a crazy damage output build, I recommend running Mystic here to get the extra protection that you need. So put in a Janna and a Nami, which will give you that extra bonus. And then to finish off, you want to get the Ocean bonus as well. So put in a Nautilus and a Thresh. So this gives you 3 Wardens with Nautilus, Thresh, and Malphite. And then if you could put a conversion item of Warden onto Vladimir, who is naturally pretty tanky and has the lifesteal on him, you'll actually be able to convert it to get the 4 Warden bonus, and gives you a great front line, especially with the Mage bonus potentially triggering on the Vladimir as well. Now, items-wise, you're going to focus most of your items on the Brand and the Malphite because they're going to be your most powerful units. Brand does really well with a Seraph Brace, Death Cap, Morellonomicon, just to get extra damage output and to be able to ult more often, which makes him deadly. Malphite specifically, I love running a Guardian Angel on him because sometimes he gets picked off before popping his ultimate, and even if he does pop his ultimate, if he'll die and come back again, he might even get a second chance at ultimate, which might end the round for you and get you a win when normally you wouldn't have gotten in the first. And of course, Morellonomicon on the Malphite works great as well, though sometimes it might be overkill to get 2 Morellonomicons in one build, but you want it on at least one of them, especially if you're going against a build that has healing. And that's pretty much it. Put your 4 Wardens up front, put your Mages in the back with the Mystics, and watch the damage fly. This is a really easy build to put together. If Vhagar and Syndra aren't available or they're being highly contested, but you're able to get the Brand, you can make a quick Ocean Warden build that works great and honestly will win you a lot of games, especially if everyone's fighting over those other. Build number 3 is 6 Inferno, and I love this build. Ever since the Inferno buff a couple months ago, Inferno has been feeling really good, especially with Amumu being able to hold down the front line and make sure that not all of your Inferno units are super squishy, you know? So you'll be able to control the board a lot easier with that front line and get some crazy damage out. On top of that, since lockets are really popular right now and really useful for builds like this, it gives you even more tankiness, which means that you're safer to run the 6 Inferno without as much front line because you know that you're going to get Amumu in there, you're going to have Nautilus, and you'll have the lockets keeping you alive. So how do you set this up? You're going to want all 6 Inferno with Amumu, Zyra, Diana, Annie, Kindred, and Varus. This will give you the 6 Inferno bonus. Your primary damage dealers will be the Annie, the Kindred, and the Amumu, for lack of a better word. Varus will get a lot in there, and in fact, if you put a Jeweled Gauntlet on him or a Seraph's Embrace, he'll get a lot of damage from his ability, though that's not really necessary. You want to finish off with a Nami and a Nautilus, which will give you the 2 Ocean bonus, because pretty much everyone on your board right now is useful for having an ultimate often, so that's going to help a lot. You'll get the 2 Warden bonus with Amumu and Nautilus, and of course your front line will need to be bolstered up a bit with at least 1 Guardian Angel. I like stacking out the Amumu with a Dragon's Tooth, Guardian Angel, and Umbrella Numicon, which means that he has a nice mix of damage output, and he's also tanky enough to survive longer than your average front line, so he keeps the back line safer longer. I like putting 1 or 2 lockets on the Annie and putting her in the middle to keep all the damage dealers alive. And then of course you're gonna get a ton of damage out of Kindred, who honestly since set 2 came out has been easily one of the biggest powerhouses of damage output in the entire Infinity Edge, and a Seraph's Embrace is a good staple for her. And you can also put in some extra attack speed items or defense items for her to make sure she stays alive longer. And because you're gonna get a lot of damage out of the Inferno units, you can actually stack all your units in the back and let the Inferno come to you, and give enough space for the Amumu to be able to apply a big ultimate with Morellonomicon and the Inferno bonus, and you'll start taking down the enemy team really nice. Also, any items you can use to stall the game, like Quicksilver, Trap Claw, Guardian Angel, Redemption, help here, because the longer the match goes, the more damage you'll deal with the 6 Inferno bonus. So anything you can do to slow it down is going to be beneficial. With 10.4, reworking Glacial and giving Olaf a bit of a love boost. So build number 4 is going to be Glacial Zerkers. You're going to get all 6 Berserkers by using a conversion item of the Berserker onto the cause. So you want to get 5 Berserkers with Volibear, Dr. Mundo, Olaf, Renekton, and Scion. Put in the Kha'Zix because Renekton and Kha'Zix will give you the Desert bonus, which is great for Berserkers or any physical damage output dealers have on your team. And then the conversion item on Kha'Zix will give you 6 Berserk. Then finish off the build with a Singed, which will give you the 3 poison bonus along with Dr. Mundo and Twitch, which is going to help the enemy team not cast as many ultimates and give more time for your Berserkers to shred the enemy team. In this case, your hyper carry is going to be Olaf with an Infinity Edge, a Guardian Angel, and personally, I like putting a rapid fire cannon on him. He does get a nice attack speed bonus from his ultimate, and so I like the fact that when he has the rapid fire cannon, he can actually move around a lot more effectively without wasting time readjusting between targets, especially with the Berserkers doing tons of AoE damage and targets going up and down. Positioning wise, because Berserkers will jump forward, it'd be great to just put all your Berserkers in the back along with Singed and Kha'Zix, and you'll have a front line that just makes the enemy poop their pants when they're coming. The Glacial bonus means that now you're gonna get a little bit more stun out of 2 Glacial with Volibear and Olaf, and you'll also get a little bit more bonus magic damage from the Glacial bonus as well. Now, if you can't get the 6 Berserkers, you can swap this out for 4 Glacial, though I think there's a bit of a diminishing return in going into high amounts of Glacial here. Your Berserkers are still going to be your main damage output, but you can put in like a Braum and an Ezreal if you want to try and go 4 Glacial. The bonus damage will help a lot with Olaf, because remember, he's going to get more attack speed, which means he's going to be stunning more often, which means he's going to be doing magic damage more often, and it's going to help him all the way through. Optionally, you can also put some lifesteal on him instead of the rapid fire cannon, like a Bloodthirster, and I like putting a locket on the Mundo, or just a locket here in general, to make sure that your backline stays alive and everyone has a little bit more HP on that. And lastly, build number 5 is going to be Ocean Mage. This one hasn't really fallen out of favor since set 2 came out. There's been a couple low points, but it's still super effective. The reason I like Ocean Mage a lot is because you can put the Mage conversion item, the spatula item, onto Malphite, and this allows him to ult twice in a row, which makes it deadly. You'll get 2 stuns in a row, you'll get the Morellonomicon proccing, and it's really hard to deal with. So in this build, you're going to want to run 6 mages with the conversion item. Your 5 mages natural are going to be Talia, Syndra, Bran, Vhagar, and Vladimir. Then the 6th mage is going to be Malphite with the mage cap. And then you want to finish off with your ocean bonus by putting in a Nautilus and a Threat. This will give you 4 ocean and 6 mage, 2 mountain, and then the Warden buff, which means that you're getting tons of mana from the ocean bonus. You're getting double casts on your Brand and your Vhagar and your Malphite, primarily because you're going to be doing the bulk of your damage, and you're getting lots of control from the front line on the Wardens. Thresh as well as Nautilus are going to be disrupting a lot and being really annoying. So this build, super strong, but it's very dependent on getting a Vhagar, a Brand, and a Malphite plus the mage cap. But if you can get it, this thing is one of the most scary builds in the game, especially with poison getting a little bit weaker this patch in 10.4. Items wise, you want to put a Guardian Angel, Mage Cap, and a Morellonomicon onto Malphite. And then generally, any magic caster items on Brand and Vhagar will work. I like putting as many Seraph Embrace as I can get, even though you may not be able to get enough tiers for this to happen. You can also put in a Jeweled Gauntlet, a Shojin's on the Veigar to make him cast more often. You death caps on both of them to give lots of extra damage, and you'll just watch the double cast go out and ruin the enemy team. And that does it for today's meta video. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Be sure to stop by my live stream. I'm live basically every day starting at 12 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/drybear. Be sure to follow my socials, and if you have any comments for me, comment down below and let me know. And also, please be sure to like the video, because when you do like this video, the YouTube algorithm does magical things and helps this video get seen by more people, which directly helps me, and I love you more for it. They'll always love you anyway. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.